Hey you guys, this is Susan here. I am up at almost midnight. It's 11:24. I actually went to bed early. I went to bed around 9ish, thinking I was just going to go to sleep, but I was having this energy and I had this vision of it was like completely blank, completely blank, completely blank. And then I had this vision of these strings, musical strings, from earth all the way up to heaven. And the meaning, my father was telling me that, and it was all in poetry, like he was speaking to me in poetry. And I can't remember right now exactly how it went. I'm going to have to start writing it down. Because I couldn't wake up. It was sort of like a trance. I couldn't wake up to write it down. And the trance lasted for a long time, and I just couldn't get out of it. But it was like, basically, we have to play the music down here, and whatever we play down here is he can hear it up there. It's connected, directly connected through our musical, strings. And so when we play down here, he plays right back. And if we just like not tune him out, we can understand, we can hear him, we can understand his communication. But we have to not tune him out. Okay. So I haven't taken a shower today. I haven't taken off my makeup since last night. It's like over 24 hours, but I don't care. I have to tell you. And then also in the trance state, I kept hearing this name, like my father was telling me, Saskia, but it was like Saskia, Saskia, Saskia. And I'm just like, what does this mean? I have no idea. I've heard the name Saskia, but I had no idea what it meant. And then also Sasha. And sure enough, when I look it up, Saskia, it can also mean Sasha, but also Alexandria, which is the female version of my son Alexander's name. And Alexander means protector of man, and Saskia means protector of mankind. So I thought it was really interesting that my father was like dictating this stuff to me. There was a lot of like just peace, like he was wanting me to be, medicated with his goodness, just relieving any cold, because I'm a cold person and I have been very cold lately. And so he was wanting me to just feel warm and cozy and relaxed, and just medicated me with laughter. And I'm not schizophrenic, and if you think I'm schizophrenic, I don't care, because I'm happy. And I've not neglected my son. I've not said, oh, forget my son. No. So it's not that I don't want to be with my son at all. So I do miss my son, and I want to be with my son all the time. I want to be with my children. I want my children in my life all the time. Like when I cook Thanksgiving dinner, I want my children to come over and share with me. I don't like being by myself necessarily, but I don't dislike it. Like I can be by myself for a long, long time. I don't dislike it, but I much prefer to have my own transportation. But God knows, since I don't have a car, he's like, it's okay, my daughter. Come up here. Let me elevate you. And, it's okay. This is your transportation. And he revealed to me that there's a lot of holes. There's like a lot of holes, and then a lot of different not necessarily dimensions, not different dimensions, but different holes, spaces that are still vacant. And this is what happened, okay? There was this room that I went to. Something else happened before I ended up in this room. But this room was directly to the right. Yes, we went up through the strings, and then we went to the right, and immediately to the right was my room, my own room. It was like a little, I don't want to say cell, because it's not jail, but it was like a little cell space, but it was bright. It was bright, but it was not the kind of bright that's uncomfortable. It was cozy bright. And it was directly in front of the Father. And I could see the whole Father. He was seated. His feet, I could see his knees and his radiant face. And my room was directly in front of the Father. And I can just come out of my room and go to my Father and get on his lap and hug on him around the neck. And he holds me like a child. And then he's like, okay, you can come to me anytime. Anytime. And I'm just like, I love it. So what if I don't have a car? I have transportation. And I am happy. Yes. So this room was vacant just for me. And there were other vacant rooms. There are other vacant rooms. I know you're going to think, okay, she's cuckoo. She's gone up to the attic again. She has left us. She's just a shell, in this body. She's just a shell. She's gone. It's like, no, people, I can go up and down. I can travel to report to you that there are vacant spaces. These are little cells. And they're all surrounding the Father. The Father's in the middle. And there was this rainbow because the Father is fire and water. Water was coming down through the strings also. And it was like water was just gushing down, just pouring out for us to drink. And I was just like, this is wonderful. This is heaven. And I was down here, but I was just eager to get up there so I could. The Father's like, I'm always here. And I can go up. I can play the music. I can drink from the water. And I can just go up to the Father through the strings. My Father's seated, and I can sit on his lap and hug on him. And he holds me and warms me up. And I felt no cold, no discomfort whatsoever. And I've been having this blockage. It's like my chi and my liver. Okay, we need some working on that, okay? Because it's hurting like right here, like my LI12, between the LI12, and I need to like investigate that because, I don't know much about, I know about chi, but I don't know much about it. I mean, I know about it, but I don't know in depth. And so I prayed to my Father tonight. I pray, Father, grant me, first of all, the wisdom to understand what to do with the power that you're going to give me, that you give me, to do my job here on earth, to, the wisdom to use my power properly and to use the tools that you're giving me to do my job, my specific job, because we all have specific jobs. And then I asked him, for knowledge, but like, I didn't say knowledge, I said deep understanding. A deep understanding. I want to understand in depth. And then he says, just come up. Just come up to me. And he told me Saskia, Sasha. And I'm like, okay, I'll remember that, because he repeated it. He repeated it because he knows that repeating things to the children, being repetitive, it gets in your little noggin. So we have to be repetitive to, like, that song that your mom sang you when you were little until you were sick of it. A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Well, they all have a meaning. Every single letter. Twinkle, twinkle, little star. How I wonder what you are, up above the world so high, like a diamond in the sky. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, O, P. And yes, and the song Yellow Submarine was in there too. Like, we all live in a yellow submarine. Well, look it up in standard, standard of music, AAA, yes. So, I don't know. I just go up to the Father. He reveals all this stuff to me. He sits there and he's like, you can come up anytime. There's your room right in front of me. And all of these rooms that are vacant are in front of the Father. The Father is in the middle. And these are like little cells, but they're opened. They're not locked. They're opened and they're bright, but they're not they're not harsh. It's not a harsh bright. It's like a bright that's warm and cozy simultaneously, because he is fire and water. That's why you see the rainbow, because when light, which is glory, and water mix, you see the colors, like the diamond at the different, when you have it just the right angle, you see the colors. And these little cells look like little windows almost, because the windows between each cell was transparent. It was like it was a room that was big enough for me and my child and even whoever else. I mean, at least 3 people. My children. It was big enough, but now Jacob has his own family. Jacob has his own 3. So it's Jacob, Ashley, and Spencer Cole, Stephen, Jacob, and Ashley. They're one unit now. So I have this vacant cell, but I was coming in and out of it. There was no door, because there was a frame, but everything is see-through. And I'm directly in front of the Father. I can go up to the Father anytime and get on his lap and hug on him, and he holds me like a child. and then I can go right back to my room. But my room has nothing. It has nothing, yet it has everything. It has everything because I can see right through. I feel free, and I can go right up to the Father. He's in front of me. And I see all of these other rooms around the Father that are vacant. The Father's in the middle and all of these rooms around the Father. And then there is these strings that go down. You can go down if you want. And you can drink water as you're going down or coming back up. And the Father reveals these things to me. But before I went up there, I recalled a dream that I had years ago. And I think I recorded it somewhere at balanceedcookie@yahoo.com. I am going to have to look. Maybe. But this dream I had it when I lived on Sage Avenue, when Alexander was little. And I remember vividly this dream. I was in like the dream started out when I was in a cave. I was in the water, like a pool. But not a swimming pool, but like a water pool area that was inside a cave, and the cave was inside the ocean. But the cave did not have any water inside. So it was like a whole different environment within the water. And there was oxygen in there. And I was inside the water within the cave that had oxygen that was under the ocean. And I was a reporter in the dream. I had my scuba diving gear, and I had a camera that was very light. It was huge. Well, not huge. It was about this big. But it was very light. I was very light. I was by myself, and there were these hippopotamuses, or hippopotami. Oh, I'm foreign and domestic, so I am foreign and domestic. I'm all, I'm Spanish and American. So, hippopotami, that's not a very common word to use on a daily basis, unless you work at a zoo or you're a vet. Or a safari person, but I in the dream saw at least 3 or 4 hippopotamuses or hippopotami on this ledge on the edge of that water pool of water. And these hippopotami were stomping on this ledge on the edge. They were synchronized, almost like machinery. They were raising their legs, and you know how underwater everything's really light, right? So they were raising their legs, they were synchronized, and stomping down. But it's hard to stomp down when you're underwater. But they were making an effort to shake the earth. And they were going up and boom. And I could feel the vibration. And they did it enough to cause kind of like an avalanche. Avalanche. I don't know how to pronounce that. But it was not a big avalanche. It was like enough to make some dirt fall into the water and cloud the pool of water where I was at. And as I was videotaping the feet of the hippopotami, the dust in the water, the dirt, began to cloud my vision. And one of the rocks hit a dolphin that was not an earthly looking dolphin. This looked like an alien life dolphin. It was neon blue, and when the rock hit him, the blood that began coming out of the dolphin was a neon blue color. And I knew it was toxic. So I swam as fast as I could away from, because there wasn't going to be enough time for me to get out of the pool, because the debris and that toxic blood, which was neon blue, was coming at me. So the only way out was through. Just keep swimming in that direction. So I kept swimming in that direction away from the opening of the pool. And I went through this tunnel under the pool that connected with this other puddle. And this other puddle was clean. So that water that was, with the dolphin, neon blue blood from that dolphin and that debris, it did not go through the other pool, because it got filtered. It was filtered as if it was like a vessel. You understand what I'm saying? Pay attention. Okay, so as I went through and swam underneath, this stuff did not follow me because it was filtered. So I ended up in this little smaller pool, but that was not really small. And there was a giant Chinese basketball player sitting in this pool. And this giant Chinese basketball player, I had no idea he existed. Okay, but I'm going to tell you. There we go. Yao Ming. I had no idea. I mean, he's been playing ball for a long time, but I had no idea. He's 7 feet 6 inches tall. He is from Shanghai, China. He wears a size shoe 18, and he's 310 pounds. Holy coyote. And he's been playing for a long time, apparently. So, all right. So in the dream, it looked like him, but in the dream he was much, much taller. Much, much taller. He was a giant, okay? Like maybe 12 feet tall, 13 feet tall, something like that. So what he did, because I was so tiny, he picked me up with his hand, and it was full of water. He just picked me up with his hand and picked me up and took me, just walked up in the street. So basically what I did is I went underwater somewhere else, and I went into a cave that had oxygen, and went in the water source within that cave that didn't have water in it, or, from the ocean, salt water, and I went into this, I guess it was fresh water? Yeah, because there was hippopotami. And this dolphin that was not like a saltwater dolphin. This was like a neon colored dolphin. So I went in and through this tunnel that was filtering the water, And I ended up with this Chinese giant all within a short distance. You understand? So he just got up and picked me up and took me out in the street to show me the different peoples. There were giants. There were people that were... He was a giant, like 12, 13 feet tall in the dream. But in real life, he's only 7 feet, 7'6". But in the dream, he was showing me other people that were about 7 feet tall. And then shorter people like me, petite. And even shorter. Like anywhere from, little midgets to anybody from regular or short stature. And then the taller people, and then the giants. And this was like a place where everybody got along. It didn't matter if you were short or tall or fat or skinny. They were all like almost like an alien movie. It was wonderful. Because I was not surrounded by hippopotami that were stumping on the ground and killing, dolphins with toxic blood. No. So anyway, that's what happened. So tonight, in my trance, I recalled that dream. And I recalled this experience with this Chinese man. And then I was transported up to the Father in this little area, with all these vacant rooms around the Father. Anyway, and then that Saskia, and Sasha, and it's ironic because I almost named my first child Sasha. I mean, not almost, but had Stephen Jacob been a girl, I would have named him or her. Stevie would have been her first name after my brother Stephen, in honor of my brother. But Sasha was the name that I had chosen as a girl's name. Sasha, Gabriella, Graciela, Paola. I remember this stuff like it was yesterday, And, John Joseph, if it was a boy, as plan B. But Robert said, I like Jacob, so Stephen Jacob it was. And Alexander, had he been a girl, he would have been Victoria, I think. Yes, Victoria, definitely. And so he was Alexander. After the doctor who operated on his sister Esther's heart to save her life, and this was the same surgery that my brother Stephen had, but he didn't make it the second time around. So this is why Stephen is very special to me, because I promised my father to serve him when my brother was in his bed and was already gone, but not physically. The machines were holding him alive, and my stepfather and my mom were waiting for me to return from Colorado to Virginia to say goodbye to my brother. And I try to bargain with God, if you let him live, I will serve you for the rest of my life. But I knew that there's no bargaining with God. And so I looked out the window. I thanked him for Stephen, for our time with Stephen. I thanked him for giving us this gift. And I promised to serve him. This is before I went in the military. I was 19 years old. And Stephen is a gift, and he will always be. Because of Stephen, I am the way I am. And everybody who knew him is the way they are, because he was in our lives. And he always liked firefighters and police cars, police officers. He loved police officers. He loved fires and firefighters and fire trucks. and emergency vehicles, the ambulance. He loved the sound of the siren, and he loved the colors and the excitement and just the police officers, getting the bad guys and I guess rescuing. He liked rescue. Yeah. So one of his favorite books, well, his favorite book from the library, from school, was about the different trucks. And I believe it was firefighter trucks. So when he passed away, the school planted a tree in front of the school, which grew to be really big. But they planted a tree, all his little classmates and the teachers, in honor of Stephen. And they actually had the firefighters come over and honor my brother when they planted the tree. And it's still there in Dale City, Woodbridge, Virginia. And I believe it's Dale City Elementary, I think. So I am the person I am because of my brother. His name means crowned one, and he is alive. He is with me, and I just want you to know that, that he is a star. And I am with the Father, and I am here. And my children don't need to be burdened the way I was burdened, because I did not know what was going on. But my Father knew I could handle it. He would not put more on me than I could handle. So I have no fear in men. I fear my Father only. Because not having my Father in my life is a frightening thing. I want to be in front of the Father, with the Father, being able to go up to the Father, sit on His lap, hug on Him, and for Him to hold me always and forever. And this is happiness. There are a lot of vacant spaces up there. Thank you.